Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are Tony Buzbee, there is so much going on. First, you are doing your victory lap. We are going to laugh about that. He has been on Instagram doing the most, and baby, we can't blame him. Second of all, there is a leaked video set out by Jay-Z's team that kind of exposes a whole media cover up. Third of all, we are going to talk about the way that the media is not okay. Listen, let's get into this, right? Because if you guys don't know, Tony Buzbee literally dropped a bomb on Jay-Z and his team, okay? They are still recovering. They have not been able to recover. There is so much going on. On top of that, Tony Buzbee was actually able to serve papers on Jay-Z. Okay, we have those legal docs for the papers that are sued. The papers have been served. This case is not only moving forward, but it is moving forward anonymously. So I know what you're asking, Tisa, where is the cover up? The cover up is what is going on in the news media. Again, if you guys don't know, there is an amazing article that was written by the great Shirley Halperin. She is a incredible reporter. And I'm just saying that because she wrote this article about more Americans get their news from YouTube and there's no going back. There's going to be a link to the article in the description box if you're watching this on playback. Okay. But getting back to it, your girl is featured in that article too. But forget all that. I mean, read the article later, but we have some really things to talk about. Last week, okay, we called a spade, and a lot of people didn't like us saying that. When we said Alex Spiro wiped the floor with Tony Buzbee, we have been covering this in detail, and this is a war, not a battle. And we said, listen, we got to call a spade a spade. Alex Spiro wiped the floor with Tony Buzbee last week. Or so it seemed, because Tony Buzbee came out of the blue, literally. And some people say blue, some people said he was always going to do that. Came out of the blue, swinging and windmilling on Jay-Z and Alex Spiro. It was one of the most intense comebacks we've seen. But here's what makes it so amazing. Okay. The link to my article is in the bio if any of you guys are wondering. Here's what makes it so amazing. Okay. It wasn't what Tony Buzbee did so much as the big missteps that Jay-Z and his team actually made. And more to that, it exposes the way that they are spiraling, the way that they are going down, down, down. And it's really making people look at what is actually going on in Rock Nation, okay? Most importantly, we're going to have to actually get to this leaked video. I'm going to play it for you right now that basically exposes there seems to be a whole media cover up where you have all of the media pulling to make sure that a certain narrative gets out when legacy media is not doing their job in investigating. So let's get into what actually kicked this off. Then we're going to get into the PowerPoint presentation that was leaked. If you guys don't know, Alex Spiro had a news conference, but unlike his other news conferences, he didn't have it for the public. He only invited journalists, legacy journalists. He invited them to come, listen to what he had to say, and then also use that evidence to go to the judge. Okay. I'm going to play that video has leaked the PowerPoint presentation that had all the talking points that was pretty much cut and pasted for legacy media to print. We actually have that. And we're going to talk about what's going on. Let's say this. Okay. Let's get past this. The link to the article is in the description box, but let's get into this. So Mark on Twitter, and again, I picked this because it represents what everybody in the media is saying. Big media said, this seems like a clear case of knowing your judge. Some tolerate theatrics while others abhor them. Not a good look for Spiro, who likely could have won the motion straightforwardly without all the drama. And this was echoed a lot of places. And I said, is this even a real person? Because I literally had to say, huh? What are you talking about theatrics? He could have won on the motions. Are we okay? Right? Then another person who has a blue check mark actually said to go on, yes, at just a glance at her background, granddaughter of a revered jurist and public servant, it shows she may be allergic to BS, PR, celebrity lawyering, which could have worked in Alex Spiro's favor if he hadn't engaged in similar tactics to call out Buzbee tactics. This is supposed to be a blue check journalist. I think they write for the LA Times. And I literally had to say, huh? Are we okay? Are y'all okay? Because you're saying at first glance of her background, at first glance, did you actually read the judge's memo? Because the judge's memo didn't talk about theatrics. She didn't talk about BS celebrity motion. The judge's memo said Jay-Z's team came to the court with law that did not substantiate what they were asking for. They came to the court and asked that the safe harbor rule, which is 21 days and it is ironclad and legal, be shortened to 1 day for no other reason than the fact that Jay-Z thought it was an emergency. Again, we're going to get into the leaked video in 1 second, but I want to highlight the way, even in the media, they refuse to say, and I call a spade like a spade. I said Buzbee got dog walked in the court of public opinion last week, and he did. But guess what? This is why you don't need to take sides, because the cream rises to the top. Buzbee came back and said, baby, we're going to show you who's really walking the dogs. But it's crazy to me that there is legacy media people literally trying to act like the reason why that motion failed was through theatrics. It wasn't through theatrics. The reason it failed is because it wasn't based on firm law. And it's reason to say also, now that I look at those tweets, I looked at the way they were slamming the courts with papers, and I said, wait, are they spiraling? Are they losing it? Let's get into this really quick, right? Actually, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm going to pull the pictures up, the response up right now, and I think this is the response where the judge said, yo, you have not even made an appearance in court. In order to make an appearance in court, you must be served papers. You have not even made an appearance in court. You cannot move to get an anonymous Jane Doe and what she wants thrown out and get her exposed and the anonymity pulled down when you haven't even made an appearance in court. Again, it boggles my mind that legacy media was like, oh, this is all for tactics. But Spiro actually started sinking down to Buzbee's tactics. We can call a spade and say that Jay-Z's team was out lawyered. Buzbee quietly submitted a letter on the 10th of December, pointing out all this stuff. Like, Your Honor, what they're asking for is it's not possible in a court of law. Who are they doing this for? You know, I know, whoever. Again, the judge didn't admonish them for making public statements. Again, legacy media is confusing this case with the Eric Adams case, where the prosecutors are like, Your Honor, they're putting 20 on 10. This isn't fair. They went through the motion to proceed anonymously. They did the actual legal test about whether or not it should be going. They said, yeah, you don't even meet the legal standard. All right. But even more, right? Even more important, the remaining motions, the motion for dismiss, the fact that legacy media is not acting like Tony Buzbee didn't dog walk Jay-Z's team. Listen to this. They said when the court attorney first appeared in the case 17 days ago, he submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of the lawyer, calling him self-promoting, calling him this, calling him that. The judge didn't say anything about you're not allowed to sling mud. You're not allowed. If anybody ever covers these type of cases, you know it's a dirty game. It's all about reputation. It's all about PR spin. Usually who has the most money or the best lawyer, most of the time you have the best money, the most money of the best lawyer, you're the one that wins. But the fact that they are trying to make it seem like, oh, his fatal flaw was sinking down to Buzbee's level, as if not admitting that Tony Buzbee is not one of, if not the most successful trial lawyer when it comes to these type of cases in the United States is laughable. The judge didn't care about you saying this, and that about the attorneys. The judge knows, because she's a professional, that in these type of cases, mud is slung on both times. This type of law is a dirty game. But listen to what the judge said that everybody is overlooking. The relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks, right? Now, she did say it was inappropriate, but that's only one sentence. A waste of judicial resources. She'll get into that. And a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. Now, that was the thing where I said, Jay-Z, the judge is telling you that you are toast. Right now, she's looking at the facts, and she doesn't think the facts actually work out right out in your favor. Why? We talk about that Palooza v. Archdiocese, right? Here is the gist that everybody is missing, because they were so loud, and we believe in being loud on both times. If either side gets a win, baby, we're going to cover it. It don't matter who makes people mad. But now we're going to have to make legacy media mad, because they were so loud about how this case has no merit and how dare you. And when you look at the timeline, but now we see the timeline and all these things that they were doing, it appears to be talking points from a PowerPoint that was leaked online that we have, that we're going to share with you in a second. The issue is the court will not fast track the judicial process merely because Jay-Z demands it. That was why the motions were denied. That is why. The judge also said, although Jay-Z tried to drag Buzbee to my, you have a chronic inability to follow the rules, she looked at them and said, Jay-Z, your people have failed to abide by this court's clear rules. Under the court's individual practices in civil cases, and with limited exceptions, a pre-motion letter is required prior to filing any motion, right? Although Jay-Z's team stated that he intended to file immediately a motion to strike the requisite 5 business days to respond, right? Individual practice say that you must wait for the court to set a motion schedule, or state whether any exception to the court's individual practices apply. They said that Jay-Z is hereby advised that any further motions filed in violation of the court's individual practice may be denied on that ground alone. So again, they were loud about Buzbee being sloppy. They was mad about Buzbee being caught slipping. They was mad about, look at the law. But now legacy media is now trying to act like the reason they lost all that is because they got in the mud with Buzbee, instead of the fact of your paperwork wasn't in order. You disrespected the court by ignoring, every judge has their own rules, by ignoring the court's clear rules on how to file motions. And you came into a judge's courtroom and told the judge that you're demanding that a 21-day grace period that is ingrained in law be shortened down to 1 day. It went from 21 days, and they went in with their motions and demanded that it be turned around in 1 day. And if they couldn't come up with proof in 1 day, they needed to throw this out. And the judge said, who do you think you are? I am not a Jay-Z stan. You don't get to come into my court during the holidays while I'm making my cosito, right? At my vacation. I don't know what the judge was making, but you're not allowed to come into my home and my courtroom and during holidays tell me the way you think things should work. And we need to completely throw all rule and law out the window because your client's angry. Who does your client think you are? Again, telling Buzbee you mess with the wrong person. Do you realize that you are now in court trying to throw your weight around and snap your fingers with no factual basis? Again, they did say that the ad hominem attacks are inappropriate. Why? Because it has never been done that you attack someone's lawyer. What does somebody's lawyer have to do with the case coming in front of them? Okay. Also, the waste of judicial resources. She's talking specifically to the numerous motions and letters that they threw at the court that had all hands on deck when you were asking for something legally that was not available to you as a remedy, right? and a tactic unlikely to benefit Jay-Z. The court will not fast track the judicial process merely because Jay-Z demands it. Lastly, although Jay-Z is entitled to file a Rule 11, we talked about that. Go watch the other live. That is for sanctions. Sanctions are very, very serious. But because they are so serious, the court gives time for attorneys to amend their pleadings or their complaint so they can avoid Rule 7 sanctions. It literally is like, instead of hitting the iceberg, they give you time to steer the ship around like, yeah. You didn't mean that. Go, fix your face, fix your words, come back to this court, and then this is what I'll review, okay? They said, although you're entitled to file a Rule 11 motion without first seeking leave of the court, usually they go to the judge first out of respect and say, because the judge is the one that gives sanctions, they go to the judge first and they're like, yo, they're cutting up. Like, we want to request Rule 11. And then the judge goes and says, yo, they want to sanction you. Like, what's going on? This isn't looking good. And then if that doesn't get through, then the judge gives permission for them to file a motion for sanctions. Again, they look very, very serious at whether you are abusing the court, okay? They said the court, even though you have a right to do that, the court discourages this approach. If he still intends to serve Buzbee with a motion for sanctions, and again, what are the sanctions for? What are the sanctions for? For what? Being the lawyer? Believing your client? What are those sanctions for? Because if that's the case, if Jay-Z is found guilty of this, and we don't know if he's going to be found guilty or innocent, right? But if Jay-Z is found guilty of this, if Diddy's found guilty of this, if anybody is found guilty of anything, does that mean we can go back and sue the lawyer because the lawyer believed that you were innocent? Like, what are we really doing here? They said if he still intends to serve Buzbee with a motion for sanction, the court denies the request to shorten the safe harbor provision. That's the 21 days I was telling you about. To shorten the safe harbor provision from 21 days to 24 hours. Again, here's what happened. That bravado, that arrogance, that if you are on Jay-Z's side, that righteous anger. If you're not on Jay-Z's side, that arrogance and bravado. He took them Twitter fingers into court, accused Buzbee of all this mess. And at the end of the day, accused Buzbee of all this mess. And at the end of the day, you guys were the ones that didn't follow court procedure. You guys were the ones that are in violation.
As we look
against you guys are the one that is in violation of well-established legal rules and precedents. You guys are the ones, according to the judge, saying inappropriate things and also making a mockery out of her courtroom by not seeking leave for whatever because the court disapproves of it. You guys are slinging mud, but at the end of the day, you guys are doing the things that you're accusing Buzbee of. And the fact that legacy media, right? Who's this? Megan Kunup. I think she watched for the LA Times. Who knows, right? Just a glance at her background, granddaughter of a revered jurist and public servant. Not the reason that she rejected that was not purely based off of firm legal precedents and respect for the courtroom, that anybody that actually has any legal training knows, yo, this isn't going to play out for you. Not you saying because your grandfather was a revered public servant, that's why you don't like celebrity PR lawyering. Were there even celebrity PR lawyers back then in her granddad? Not the grandfather. Really? This is what y'all get? Y'all don't want to say, yo, the things that we tried to drag Buzbee over in a court of law and in the newspapers for doing, the judge actually said, no, Jay-Z's the one doing that. His team's doing that. And y'all really just want to skip over that and say that the reason she didn't side with Jay-Z's team was because her grandfather was a revered public servant? Really? Is that what we doing? Just a glance at her background, honey. You ain't have to glance at her background. All you had to do was glance at the letter she wrote in her opinion, because judges can't just say, yes or no. They have to outline why they did it and cite the case law as far as precedents of why they did it, both binding and not binding. That's how you go after judges' rulings and see if they're based on firm law and if it can go up to the appellate or if it can be overturned, right? Very important stuff. But it shows she may be allergic to BS celebrity luring. Really? That's what you got? That's what you got? Which could have worked in Alex's favor, Alex Spiro's favor. How would that have worked in his favor? How? Because she didn't say, she said one sentence. I think the attacks on plaintiff counsel is inappropriate. Everything else she said, you guys are wasting court resources because what you're asking for is not available in this court. You're wasting our time because you know that's not how things go. You know that. But instead of saying that, you're like, it could have worked in his favor. So if Alex Spiro had quietly submitted this, the judge still would have laughed it out of court because even quietly submitted the rah-rah and the sis boom bah and the fanfare. That's not what killed your motions. What killed your motions were they weren't grounded in law, right? Which could have worked in Alex Spiro's favor if he hadn't engaged in similar tactics to call out Buzbee's tactics. So, and I literally said, are y'all okay? Legacy media, are y'all okay? Is everything all right? This is Pete. So let me get this straight. You didn't want to talk about the judge's ruling. Y'all don't want to point out the way Buzbee literally did a Michael Jordan layup on them, right? From the three-pointer. You don't want to talk about that, right? You don't want to do this. And now you're trying to say, and you are supposed to be a court reporter. I don't know what her legal training is. I don't think she ever went to law school because I don't think she even understands like what's going on. And not saying you have to go to law school to understand, but at first glance in her background, you don't need to know nothing about her. You don't need to know who her granddaddy is, who her mom, her dad is. All you need to know is she cited firm law. So now you're trying to say that the reason it got thrown out was the fact that he lowered himself to Tony Buzbee's level. And because of that, the judge dismissed the complaint. But Tony Buzbee's level was he filed everything the way he was supposed to. He was standing on firm legal law. And I'll tell you one thing, right? Again, the fact that this, and they're amplifying this seems to be a clear case of knowing your judge. No. Some tolerate theatrics. Theatrics had nothing to do with this, while others abhor them. Not a good look for Spiro, who likely could have won the motion straightforwardly without the drama. Again, and I think this is actually very much disrespecting Judge Torres and her rulings. She is known to be a firm advocate for plaintiffs. She is known to be a victim's advocate, but who cares about that? She's known to be a very tough but fair judge that abides by the rule of law. And now you're trying to say that she was just like, oh my God, get this out of here. Instead of saying she made such a good legal ruling and restored order in her court. It wasn't the mudslinging. It was the things that Jay-Z demanded that the court do to appease him. Again, baby, you got $1 billion, but what does it have to do with the thing of court? You would have won the motion straightforwardly about the drama. No, you would have lost them without the drama. And I'm beginning to think that maybe the drama was actually the point. Again, as we go into this, look at the way legacy media is treating it. It's weird. What's up, you guys? Happy New Year, Donna. Happy New Year, Donna. I'm glad you caught alive too. And also, Victoria Wiggins, thank you so much for the super chat. Donna says, hey, Tisa, glad I caught alive. Happy New Year. Again, is legacy media okay? Have you guys lost your minds? Like, what is going on? Why can't you just give Buzbee his win? I will say this before we get into the PowerPoint, and we're about to get into it right now. I honestly do believe that this ruling has, in my mind, right? Because again, this is not a Buzbee fan channel. It's not a Jay-Z. It's not a, y'all know it's not a Diddy fan channel. I'm reporting it like I see it, right? It is my opinion, but I'm giving you the letters too, and we can walk through it together. I will call a spade a spade. If you get your butt handed to you, I don't care. Yo, you got your butt handed to you. Wake up. Let's get back in that game. The fact that they do not want to report a spade being a spade, the fact that now they are even blaming Buzbee for the reason why Jay-Z's claim didn't work, but still don't want to call it a legal victory. The fact that this judge has 100% restored, in my mind, Buzbee's credibility. Let me walk you through why, because I think this is like really important. Um, a couple of things. When Jay-Z's lawyer came out with all these legal documents, he did this, he did that. And forget about Jay-Z's lawyer. Let's talk about the Rock Nation attorneys that, according to Buzbee, drummed people up to sue him. And all these lawsuits hit him all on the same day. I'm not going to lie to you. I said, because, baby, listen, the only person I give 100% faith to is the Lord. The humans will human sometime. It's like you always got to leave a little bit of room. And I said, what's going on? They are making a bunch of serious accusations. And even if 1/10 of these are true, right? Even if 1/10 of these are true, these are serious accusations that Buzbee has to account for. Buzbee came out and said, this is all BS. This is fictitious. This is histrionic. You guys are literally trying to distort justice and distract. What is it? Deny, delay, depose, or whatever. You guys are trying to distort the truth by this media thing. It sounded good. But when you look at anything legal, you have to take out who you want to win, who you feel, and actually look. I said, if Buzbee does not come with any proof, what you want me to do? You want us to support someone and you're not bringing any proof? Because this isn't like a football team where we have faith you'll win. It's like, no, this is actually real life in court. So I was looking at Buzbee's train like, these are very serious accusations. We don't know Tony Buzbee. We don't. Yeah, you're victims, but at the end of the day, I don't know you. Maybe some of this is true. People could say the same thing about Jay-Z. People could say the same thing about Diddy. Oh, they did all that. Yeah. So I was very much looking like, what exactly is going on, right? And I was waiting for Buzbee's response. He's filed that motion on December 10th, very quietly, very respectfully, very demure, very respectful, very demure. And I said, what's going on with what the judge is going to rule? The judge ruled an unequivocal win to Tony Buzbee. And it confirmed every single thing that Buzbee said in his December 10th letter. Everything that Buzbee said in his December 10th letter, it confirmed. The only thing it didn't confirm was the last paragraph saying, they have brought other things against me that are also lies. But I'll address that in due course, if you will, literally. And it was a promise, not a threat. And in that moment, I said, okay, well played. But at the end of the day, the legal system restored Buzbee. So if you threw everything in the kitchen sink at this man, and the judge is saying that everything you threw at him is BS and can't stick. I mean procedurally, not opinion. Oh, who do I believe? I mean procedurally, everything you did doesn't stick. Well, then that means that 90% of what Buzbee's saying was true. And if almost 100% of what you put in there doesn't stick, and they're saying there's no legal basis for this, so I don't even understand what you're going with it. And we have Buzbee where 90% of what you're saying, the judge said absolutely there's 100% of legal basis and precedence. It makes me think, moving forward, how much of what Buzbee says is true and how much of what you said is true? Because when it comes down to it, Buzbee shit withstood that, took a licking and kept on ticking. Meanwhile, your shit just fell apart. And it made me look at Jay-Z on Rockefeller tweeting up a start. We don't fight for victory. We fight from victory. It made me look at what exactly is going on. Because it felt at that moment like a little bit of a crash out, like a little bit of a spiral, if you will. But then that was my thoughts last week when he was like crashing out on Twitter. Right? But I said, I don't know these people. Maybe to me, it appears to be a crash out. But maybe, again, I don't know them. So maybe it's not a crash out. It's just reading as a crash out, right? Because you got to be careful not to project what you would do onto other people. The same way I was raised that if I was raised that if I'm innocent, you argue that shit. You go to war. What? How dare you? But then when I got older, right? And I got into academic fields, that's when you learn if you're right, you don't gotta say shit. You can just sit back and watch the fools bicker because you're right. The truth doesn't need defense, nor does it need motivation. So when you look at someone, it's like, oh, they must be telling the truth because they getting loud. Another person can look at them and be like, yo, they must be lying. Why they getting so loud? It all is where you're at and the way people view things. You see what I'm saying? So I try not to project what I would do too much on them because we weren't raised with the same parents and same thing. That our incomes aren't the same. You know, you could be a billionaire. Maybe you could be living at the shelter. No shade to anybody that might be going through housing insecurity during this time, especially in the holidays. I hope everybody is warm and safe and around people they love. I don't mean to make it seem like I'm laughing at anybody that is currently or ever has experienced housing insecurity. I know that's a huge deal, but you get my point. I don't know where I fall on your scale of life. I don't know if I'm like your twin, or I don't know if it's just like, oof, I would never, right? So it's hard. So when I saw that, I said, huh, it appeared to me to be a crash out. But now that we see the judge says that all that shit they said was in fact a crash out, it makes you think, why are you crashing out? It makes you think, why are you trying to get to scare lawyers from taking cases? And I mean, we know why, but it also makes you think, why are you tweeting from Rock Nation? What is going on inside Rock Nation? Is this the dam that is breaking, or is there something more behind it? What are you basically, like dogs trying to scare people away from your food? What is the food? Again, you guys, I can't say too much more about that, but I'm just saying we are going to watch this space like a hawk because like all I gotta say is you ever hear that old thing by Ray Bradbury? By the twitching of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. I don't know, y'all. I think there's something. I you know what? Let's move on. All right. In any case, let's get into the video. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, one, I love to talk. Two, I missed you guys. Three, I hope everybody had happy holidays, but also like, why am I bringing this up? Because it's really, really depressing and a little bit sad. I don't care if everybody's singing one person's praises. Great. If you get a win, you get a win. Y'all know last week I said Buzbee got his ass handed to him. I know some people are saying, oh, you don't understand. Buzbee wanted that girl to go up there and he wanted her to be made a fool of. So Jay-Z, so he could set a trap for Jay-Z. And I said, you must be out of your mind. Ain't no way in the world. And legal tattletales, lawyer tattletales, make yourself known. There's no way in the world that a lawyer would lead their client out to slaughter like that. Buzbee had the law on his side in response, but no lawyer wants that because you are jury tainting. Lawyers have to defend their clients vigorously. You cannot completely discredit your client and have the whole media calling her a liar, all because you're setting a trap. It doesn't, there's nothing wrong with saying Buzbee got caught slipping. He got caught lacking, but that's cool because guess what? He got back on his P's and Q's and the law was on his side, right? Jamal Johnson, what's up, Jamal? Said, my problem is I don't trust Jay-Z or Buzbee. I feel like fake victims are being mixed up with real ones. I feel so jaded. Thank you for so much for being a member for 21 months. You know, Jamal, I can feel you on that. It does seem like there is something going on. The only thing is with this Buzbee case, well, is she a fake victim? We talked about Palooza v. Archdiocese. That is saying that when somebody has cognitive impairment, or if they have, or if they are young when the SA occurred, they are not held to the same standard. But any expert would tell you, right, that what you see, remember, and experience when you go through that is very, very different for a normal person remembering they went to the store, got some like pistachios, and then came back. You see what I'm saying? Like, I do think that there are some fake victims probably mixed up in the real ones, but the way the onslaught was, and again, I don't trust Jay-Z or Busby. I got a lot of respect for both of them, but I don't know either of them personally. So I would never vouch for anybody personally that I don't know. I can respect both of them for what they built, the type of thing, but I don't know any of y'all. So the only please, I'll vouch for my daddy, right? But otherwise, it's like I don't know you to be vouching. I'm just gonna sit there and see what happens. But the whole thing is a lot of fake ones mixed up with real victims. I get it. But the thing that really just keeps tiddling away in my brain, just like that little itch, is like the way that Jay-Z is moving. It's giving spiral. It's giving crisis. It's giving what is going on? Again, remember I did that live and I was like, yo, is Jay-Z hiding? And people are like, oh no, there's lots of reports he was at the Super Bowl. And I said, y'all have to learn the way the PR game is played. I said it plenty of times in the video. I said, Jay-Z was probably there. He was probably in the VIP box. Fine. But the fact that they did not show his face in any of the cutaways, they didn't show them arriving. They didn't show them leaving. They didn't show on any official pages. I'm not talking about a few random fan attacks that got like his left dread, like leaving out the thing. No, I'm saying the fact that unlike Blue Ivy's thing where they're like, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm here. He was ghost at that NFL thing publicly. Yes, he was there. Yes, he was probably supporting Beyonce, but where's the official pictures? Where's the Instagram reel? Where's the post? I know what some people said, oh, if he was there, you'd be like, oh, this is taken away from B. You're right. But I think it's telling that his bravado that he had last week seems to be tampering down, because even though there is a whole media onslaught and a press that appears to be firmly on his side, he still knew, oh, that wasn't a good look. Let me just dip out for a second. You know what I'm saying? Also, GC Set said, great observation. Thank you for always standing by the truth, good, bad, or ugly. I hate it when others try to drag you when they probably never watched the vid. Maybe we ain't talking about those people, whoever they are. Listen, everybody is entitled to their opinion. You guys come to this channel for my opinion, and I'm going to give it to you. And other people are entitled to have their opinion over in their house. Never mind. You know what I'm saying? But again, some people like blinders. I know y'all, and on this channel, anyone that's watching this live, you appreciate, you understand nuance. You understand in this world, there's not 100% angels or demons. There's a lot of gray area. And I truly believe that one of the reasons Diddy got away with everything he did for so long is because people that don't want the nuance, you're either good or bad. You either did something good or you did something bad. So whenever there was nuance that would have like put cracks in the mask to be like, this don't make sense. You say that you're a loving husband and all, and no, I'm sorry, you're a loving father and blah, 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 blah. And you help, but you haven't helped anybody in the community lately. And you say you're a loving father, but the kids see you treat the moms like crap. So because when you don't allow for nuance, it's so easy to skate in the shadows, because it's like, I saw something that doesn't make sense. Instead of investigating it more and being like, wait, why, how does that happen? Right? You're like, no, they're a good person. I can't look at it. Good person. Or you see some nuance where you're like, well, hold on, maybe you're not the demon in this. No, you're a bad person. You're a bad person. I can't look. You got to look at the nuance. And I will say it 100%. You always have to go to, listen, I read everything. I research everything, even like places I don't agree with, news I don't want to agree with, people that I'm just like, use a bold face of life. I consume everything. Why? Because how are you ever going to know what the other side is doing, where the holes in their story are, or where things are leaked, if you don't actually go to the other side, do recon, and actually hear what they're saying? Because a lot of times people telling themselves, you don't got to do, I'm just going to go straight to, what are y'all saying? Y'all said it's A, B, and C. Mhm. But that's impossible. You need to see what the other side is saying, what they're trying to distract you from, what they don't want you to look at, because often there is the answer to what they're actually trying to hide. And if you just stay on your side around a campfire, like we're in like the cave, right? Looking at shadows on the wall from the fire, right? Looking at shadows on the wall from the fire. Oh yeah, ooga booga. Like, yeah, they bad. What are we doing? What are we doing? We sitting here talking to ourselves, hyping ourselves up, but where's the nuance? Because we don't know what's going on outside in the real world. We're only making our own little reality that when it stands and touches the sunlight, it can't stand. Right. And if you look at the allegory for the cave, or there were people and they thought that they were like, they saw things and it was just like reflections of the fire and they thought that was their whole world, and then somebody stumbled out the cave. You can look at the world as an allegory for that, but the part of the cave allegory that nobody ever talks about is the fact that when he stumbled outside the cave and he saw that all they saw in the cave was just reflections of the fire, it wasn't like the real world. And he went out into the cave, out of the cave, and he finally saw the real world. At first, he has a nervous breakdown, like, oh my God, this is the real world. Oh my God, I don't believe I wasted all this time. I thought the whole universe existed inside of that cave. But nobody talks about the part that actually says what humanity is. When he saw that, at first he had a little nervous breakdown, and then he became emboldened with the truth. I see the truth. I see the world for what it is. Everybody in that cave is wasting their life. I'm going to run back into that cave and I'm going to wake everybody up. And then we're all going to walk outside that cave. You know, he tried to go back into the cave and wake everybody up. And you know, the people in the cave tried to kill him. They tried to kill him because, and this goes in allegory the way humans are sometimes, when you tell people things they don't want to hear, when you tell things people that go against what, not everyone of course, but when you tell certain people things that go outside of what they want to believe, they get hostile, they get angry, they get violent, because they're so intent on clinging to a narrative, because that's where their self-esteem is, that's where their ego is. They need this win, right? So the part about the cave where, oh, we see this is not true reality, and he goes outside, he goes back and he tries to save all the other people in the cave with him, and they try to murder him. And he barely escapes with his life. And he just decides, yo, let me just go live my life with people that have left the cave. And if anybody is ready to leave the cave, they'll find their own way out. And when they do, I'll be there for them. But as of now, I can't like sacrifice myself in order to wake y'all up, because at the end of the day, they don't want to be woken up. They don't want to be woken up. So it's just better to leave the cave. And who wants to be in the cave anyway when you got that big, beautiful world outside? That is a part of the cave, that allegory that people don't talk about. When you go back and try to wake people up, you guys, we've been lied to. They have us in chains and they have us watching these reflections, but that's not real. They're only reflections of the fire. The people he tried to go back and save wanted to kill him because he was trying to let them know that their whole life and what they believed was a lie, and they couldn't deal with it. So anyway, it don't matter. I said all this to say, F them. Anyway, Jamal Johnson, thank you so much again for being a member for 21 months. G said, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Also, the Riller 100 said, I think people need to pay attention to Ali Carter. Okay. I'm looking into the Ali Carter stuff because you guys have been telling me and to tell you the truth, I don't like to speak on things that I'm not really knowledgeable about. But yeah, if things work out, I would love to have Miss Carter on the thing, but I have to research it more. That's all. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I know people, I just don't know. And I have no problem with saying I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part of the research yet. It's above me now, said Tisa. I feel like Buzbee has a plan and it's looking like it's working. Patiently waiting. I do think that Buzbee has a plan. I think that he is an excellent trial lawyer and a brilliant strategic mind. That said, even the best of them misstep. Alex Spiro is a brilliant lawyer. Brilliant. But there was a misstep. And it's not wrong with saying people misstep. Also, Miss Brooks said, Allie be riding with you, babe. Where are the children? Okay, we're going to look into Allie Carter. Denise Young said, hey, Tisa, somebody thinks this is a movie where an American gangster can manipulate the judicial system and go home free. Nope, the case must go on. Well, listen, a lot of people are mad at me when I actually said this case is 100% proceeding to trial, and I said the case law that it is. But let's get into also the legacy media stuff, because I think that, and thank you so much, Denise. I think that is important to know that where's all this coming from, and why are these things being amplified to make it still seem like this weird narrative, much like this person did with Tyrone Blackburn. Remember, she said, oh, I've looked at it. This case has no legs. That case that Tyrone Blackburn bought on behalf of Little Rod that she said had no legs. I mean, it's all opinion. I give my opinion, right? No shade. But the case you said, that was the case that looks like it literally drew a map for the federal raid, and it is still standing, and Blackburn has not been sanctioned, right? So again, with just a glance at her background, you don't need to look at her background, but let's get into why legacy media might actually be spewing this mess. Because, right? Turn your volume up. This is something really interesting. This has actually leaked. It is a PowerPoint that when Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, when Jay-Z's team had a private closed door briefing for legacy media, right? This is what was actually shown. Listen to this PowerPoint, because a lot of things said in this paragraph were cut and paste into tweets, into articles, into news reports, into TV news. Now, no shade, because baby, you got to get it how you live it. We all report stuff. But the fact of the matter is, these legacy media, with all of their resources, with all of their stuff, with all, they didn't bother to actually research what this was, and they just took what was being spoon-fed to them. Listen to this. We're going to listen to it once straight through, and then we're going to rewind and just break that apart.
As we look and review these alleged accusations against Mr. Carter,
this is supposed to be the actual PowerPoint presentation that was played to the media, that was invited for a closed door press briefing that the public was not invited to. These, I believe, are their marching orders. Listen to this.
the timeline and details that Jane Doe has provided in her formal complaint do not create a scenario in which any of the accusations are plausible or possible. Time doesn't lie. These accusations bring to question all details of the complaint, the reasonable timing of each moment, and how this all could have happened, which is irrefutably not possible. In her complaint, Jane Doe states that these points: she snuck out of her window and had a friend drive her to the VMA location, Radio City Music Hall. To get to the after party, the drive from the VMAs to the residence was 20 minutes, that the driver had to drive Diddy to the after party first from the VMAs, then come back to get her to bring her to the after party, that Diddy and Mr. Carter were at the residence by the time she arrived, that after the alleged sexual assault, she navigated through the party to the exit and ran to the nearest gas station to call her father to pick her up, and that her father picked her up before dawn. To establish all of these alleged timings and make sense of a plausible timeline, we've started with the facts to understand the start and end to the alleged incident, which did not happen. Jane Doe, on the day and year, lived in Rochester, New York, over a 5-hour drive without traffic to Radio City Music Hall. The VMA's broadcast and show started at 8 p.m., which Jane Doe claims she watched outside on a Jumbotron. She would have had to leave her home at 2 p.m. to get to Radio City Music Hall on time to watch celebrities arrive, she claims, and be there for the start of the show. Jane Doe claims that her father picked her up before dawn on September 8th. Dawn on that day was at 6:29 a.m. For her father to drive from Rochester to pick her up, the latest the phone call from the gas station would have had to have been at 1:30 a.m. That establishes the start and end to our alleged timeline. Now let's work through the facts. The VMAs in 2000 ended at 11:11 p.m. Jane Doe said that the driver had to drive Diddy to the after party, come back to get her, then drive her to the party. She also stated that the drive was 20 minutes. That in total would have been 20 minutes times 3, which is 1 hour total of drive time. The earliest the driver could have picked her up is at 11:51 p.m., making the earliest the driver could have dropped her off at the alleged residence is 12:11 a.m. Irrespective of the details of the residence, this now establishes that the earliest she could have been at the residence is 12:11 a.m. Now, for her to call her father from a gas station at 1:30 a.m., we have to establish how close is the gas station from the residence. Out of the possible locations for the white residence, the nearest gas station is 42-minute walking distance. That means that the latest that Jane Doe could have left the residence after the alleged incident is 12:48 a.m. That creates 37 minutes for this 13-year-old girl to be at the party, talk to celebrities, have a portion of a drink, and for the alleged sexual assault to happen. For her to run out of the house, be in an area she knows nothing about, knows no direction as to how to get anywhere in the middle of the night, and find her way to the nearest gas station 42 minutes away to call her father to pick her up. This is all assuming that everyone left exactly on time at 11:11 p.m. once the VMAs ended, that there was no traffic after the VMAs in the 3 drives the driver made to transport Diddy and Jane Doe to the party. This is also assuming that Diddy and Miss Lopez did not attend any other after parties in the 1-hour period before Jane Doe arrived to the party, and separately, Mr. Carter either, and that without any directions in the middle of the night in an area she is unaware of, Jane Doe made it on foot to a gas station in 42 minutes. This is all not possible and irrefutably false. This alleged incident and timeline are not plausible, and this did not happen. This timeline is absolutely not plausible, as both Diddy and Miss Lopez are photographed at other VMA after-parties at commercial establishments at the time in question, and separately Mr. Carter as well, none of which are the described white residents in Jane Doe's complaint. In these pictures, you can see Diddy and Miss Lopez change clothes from the VMAs, went to multiple commercial nightclubs, including Lotus and Twirl, and none were the White House described in Jane Doe's complaint. This incident did not happen. Now, to speak on the white residence that is described in Jane Doe's complaint, she
Okay, so I'll let this
describes it
finish.
as a
Hold on.
large.
Just to let you guys know, for those this is supposed to be the leaked PowerPoint presentation from Jay-Z's camp, and it does not paint them in the best light. This presentation, which I believe was clearly never meant for public eyes, lays out how the media was being spoon-fed narratives that conveniently sidestepped any real investigation into the latest drama. Okay? Again, there's a lot to unpack here. The PowerPoint, yes. Somebody actually put this into writing, is detailing the steps that Jay-Z's team took to manage the media. Again, to me, this means damage control. There's talk of media outlets being guided to specific angles where reporters, I don't know if they were encouraged, but they definitely skipped over certain details and a whole lot of behind the scenes maneuvering. Again, to keep Jigga Man, I believe, Jay-Z as clean as possible. Let's keep going.
Large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway, and she says it was 20 minutes from Radio City. There are no houses matching Jane Doe's allegations within the 20-minute drive from Radio City Music Hall. To dive deeper into the details, there are 2 possible residences in Diddy's life during that period of time, but none match Jane.
Wow. Do you want to hear something funny? Here's the Alpine Estate. Here's the Saddle River Chateau. Here's the Hamptons home. And here's the Manhattan townhouse. I believe I was the first person to actually dig these up. But the one thing they are missing is the fact that Diddy rented mansions. But let's keep going.
Jane Doe's description. There's a Manhattan townhouse that does not match the description. There's a Hamptons home over 2 hours drive away. There are 2 residences in New Jersey. One was sold in 1998, years before the alleged incident. One was purchased in 2004, after the alleged incident. In fact, there is no home in Manhattan gated with a U-shaped driveway. All in all, time doesn't lie. The location of Jane Doe's alleged incident does not exist. The alleged timeline of the incident is not possible. Diddy and Miss Lopez were at other after-parties at commercial establishments during the time in question. And separately, Mr. Carter was also at other after-parties at commercial establishments at the time in question. Jane Doe's father even confirmed that he does not remember driving 5 hours both ways to pick up his 13-year-old daughter on the night in question. In addition, Jane Doe claims that she spoke to Benji Madden about his tattoo at the party at the white residence, but Benji Madden confirmed that he wasn't in attendance as he was on tour in a different state at the time. This event is provably false and did not happen. Said that the driver had to drive to pick her up. The latest the phone call from the gas station would have had to have been at 1:30 a.m. That establishes the start and end to our alleged timeline. Now let's 11:11 p.m. to the after
rely on.
She'll spend 20 minutes time. The driver could have picked her at 11 a.m. and at the residence from a gas station. We have to establish how
to research things for us did such a shameful job. Again, the fact that they put out all these articles, and when I say there was a tsunami of articles based off of this PowerPoint presentation, what I believe to be marching orders for them to do without doing any significant investigation, I think it's actually shameful. This was put out by the person being accused of heinous things. It could be true, it could not be true, but this didn't come from a court of law. This wasn't admitted as evidence, as verified. Okay, that would be different. You're not going to question something found in a court of law. But this was nothing but, did any of the media actually research to make sure this actually arrived? The latest Jane Doe arrival at VMAs is at 8 p.m. Okay, fine. She said, fine. The 11 p.m., the VMA's in, right? The earliest Diddy's arrival at the white residence could be 11:31. You're assuming that Diddy stayed for the whole VMAs. We don't know that. The earliest a limo returned to Radio City. We don't know that. Diddy had lots of limos on staff. We don't know. And he could have actually had people looking, right? The earliest a limo drops off Jane Doe at the right residence would be 11 a.m. Let me just say this. She said she waited there for a while. Again, we don't know. They didn't bother to push back on anything. The 11:30 a.m., the latest Jane Doe could call her father, and 6:29, the latest Jane Doe is picked up by her father. Again, we don't know this. The fact that they just literally said, oh, okay, and they ran with it like it was truth is very, very, very. Also, 12:48 is the latest that Jane Doe left the white residence. Why is this? Where are you getting this from, sir? Again, I understand why Jay-Z said it. Even this, they're now trying to act like Diddy, Jay-Z, and they're throwing in Jennifer Lopez. The reason why that they couldn't have been is because they were at separate clubs at different times. Diddy hopped around 2-3 parties. He was gathering people, probably looking for more people for the freak off. And again, the fact that this woman is classifying it as a VMA after party, when we all know that what she's describing is a freak off in a resident, that means it's the after party. The VMA after party is a corporate event, but there is an after party that many party planners have said that Diddy does. He rents out mansions. There's been all these reports, but the legacy media refuse to talk about it. They refuse to talk about it. And you have some random pictures with no signed sworn affidavits. Where's the signed sworn affidavits saying A, B, and C? On top of that, and this is what I think is laughable, when they get into do not exist within a 20-minute drive of Radio City Music Hall, you were trying to say because someone said, I think it was 20 minutes, that it couldn't have been 25 or 30 minutes. It couldn't have been 25 because there are, if you watch my old video or We Found the House, we found plenty of mansions for rent about 22 to 28 minutes away from the VMA after party, which I believe in 2003 might have been held at Lotus Trail. There might even have been a party held at Cipriani's. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, from Midtown Manhattan, even if you do from Radio Music Hall, there are, and Lotus and Twirl or whatever, there are plenty of rental mansions that are white with round driveways between 22, 28, and even 35 minutes. The fact that there were actual reporters who went to school for this, that sat there in a presentation and never pushed back, never said, wait a second, this doesn't even make any sense. On top of that, right? The fact that they're now saying that Diddy only has, these are reporters, right? I don't blame Jay-Z for putting out this narrative because he's trying to save himself. But the fact that there are reporters that know that the federal prosecutors are saying that he never held freak-offs in his house. He never held freak-offs in his house. The fact that there are federal prosecutors saying that he liked to rent hotels, mansions, all this stuff. They wrote the stories. And now they're trying to act like the only place Diddy could have had a freak off would have been in one of the residences he owned. Again, I saw the Alpine Mansion and I saw the Saddle River. And I said in my live, if people actually listened to the live, I know y'all did, but if the people in the back actually listened to the live, he had links to that area. Why is that important? Because there are a lot of mansions in that area that you can rent for anywhere between $2,000 to $8,000 an hour. You can even rent it overnight. Diddy's party planner is going off the record saying that Diddy spent $500,000 on the party, but the private blank parties that happened after the parties that were coincided with Video Music Awards and boxing matches and all this other stuff, that there was no price limit on that. You guys, again, the fact that reporters didn't say, well, excuse me, I know these are mansions that he owned, but what about the mansions that he rented? Are you saying Diddy never rented a mansion? Nobody questioned. Nobody said anything. They listened, they took their notes, and then they took these marching papers and they flooded social media with it. They flooded social media. And even now that Tony Buzbee's law actually pushed back and won, they're now saying, oh, well, it's just because Jay-Z got in the mud with Tony Buzbee. Like, are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? Like, what's going on? And I get it. It's with both sides. What is in the water these days that not nobody, but the people in the back don't want to say, okay, well, I thought A, B, and C, but now that I have new information, let me reevaluate what I thought to be true because there's new information. I think the cave is everything of the world. But now that we have more information about someone came and said they were outside the cave and there's a huge world, should we kill them and turn back and watch into the fire against the wall, or should we go and check out that world that they say works out there? The fact that all these trained news reporters, legacy media sat there in this briefing and didn't push back, didn't investigate, and printed what was said as absolute truth, it boggles my mind. The fact that they didn't get legal experts on to be like, yeah, what Jay-Z's doing is really weird, and I don't know if it's going to work. The fact that, again, no pushback. This event did not happen according to you. According to you. The fact that, right? They quoted this girl's father. I feel like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick out in my mind. Listen, the fact that they promised this interview that was used in a legal document, and they didn't even give us the whole interview. They gave us sound bites. They gave us clips. I don't even think we heard the father say this. Look at this, the epilepsy, ... I feel like I would remember that, and I don't. What did you ask him? How was the question phrased? What did you say? In order for me to believe that he said this in this manner and it's taken into context, I need to hear the context. Where's the context? I would that, and I don't, I have a lot going. Okay, why is it ... Why is the epilepsy? What did he say in between then? What is the context that you don't want us to know? I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. Again, this quote with no context that is shown on, I believe, this PowerPoint that was never meant to leak. Is this what legacy media did? They sat there and they said, okay, makes sense, instead of pushing back and being like, stop. Where's the context? And you know what? We still haven't seen that whole interview dropped. Have you? I haven't seen that whole interview dropped. I haven't seen the context. I just saw things like it was Bravo, reality TV, Frankenstein bites, but I haven't seen anything else. Again, a representative for Manna confirms they did not attend the 2000 BMAs and that they were on tour at the Midwest at the time. Okay, admittedly, this was not Tony Buzbee's finest hour, but we were the first people to report that if you take that, and we're a YouTuber or an amateur pundit, you guys, the link to the article is down below. Go. The fact that we were the first people to actually say, listen, it doesn't work in 2000, but your story matches 85% if we move it to 2003. And then we were the first ones to pull up case law, being like, the case is going to move forward. And we got everybody mad. But maybe we call it how we see it. The case is going to move forward because of Palooza v. Archdiocese. And wouldn't you know it, and Tony's Buzbee's rebuttal, they cited Palooza v. Archdiocese. We said there is going to be probably going to be limited discovery to find out what the party planner did. There's probably going to be a motion calendar, 90 days, 30, 30, 30. There's going to be all these things, and this case is going to move forward. And look at God's glory. The case is actually moving forward. Now, whether or not Jay-Z is guilty, that is something for a jury to decide. But when we talk about bloggers, and baby, we are giving blogging a good name. Enough of this, that's a blogger, because baby, these legacy media things are running our blogging and trying to pass it off as it's not opinion. I did my research. Baby, where's your research at then? Where's it at? Oh, at first glance. Where's your research? And baby, we are back and we are giving blogging a good name. We are giving blogging a good name because, again, yes, you guys come to me for opinion. I get that. And I love sharing what I learned. But I've always said, baby, trust no one. You don't got to believe me, legacy me, anyone. Believe what you want. I'm just giving you what I found. And I hope that it helps you on your journey to getting to what you think is the truth. But I really do feel like when it gets to media, I think it's shameful, right? And I think it smacks of, are you following your journal? And again, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good people doing legacy media. There's a lot of good journalists. I do feel, though, in this Jay-Z case, the fact that this information was sent out and no reporter thought to challenge it, no reporter thought to take 5 hours while they were bored waiting for, my man was out. I was waiting for him to come home, right? 5 hours. Let me get on this web and see what I can find. Let me see what fits, what doesn't fit. And I am just an amateur pundit. Okay. I just think it's shameful that it was put out. Nobody pushed back. Everybody said this like this was facts presented in a court of law, and no one bothered to tell the other side of the story. Now, why? Maybe they don't care. Maybe they have mixed influences. Disney, NFL, Jay-Z, hell, Alex Spiro, all big money, all very powerful. There's other vested interests. LVHM, Moet and Chandon. Again, nobody wants to go against the popular people with billions of dollars. And hear me out. I am not saying that Jay-Z actually is guilty. That is for a court of law to decide. My issue with this is the shameful way that the media actually handled this. And now that a judge, an actual court of law, remember everybody was like, that's why I don't like y'all bloggers. I'm waiting for the facts. I'm not speaking on this until a judge speaks on this. Okay, but a judge spoke on it. And now the crowd went silent. And the crowd goes silent. That's what happened. So all these people that were like, oh, y'all need to shut up and wait until a judge rules on it. A judge has ruled on it. And now everybody just sitting there on mute, quiet, because again, they don't want to amplify the fact that their hometown, right? Their prom king just got his ass handed to him by Tony Buzbee. Just like, and we made a lot of people mad last week, Tony Buzbee got his ass handed to him by Alex Spiro last week. He did. And that's okay. Baby, it's a war, not a battle. It is a war. But it's just funny. It shows you where the media is. And it shows you next time Jay-Z says that he's powerless, that he has no one on his side. How would you feel this and that? Baby, you got the full media. It appears on your side. Whether it's because they want favor, whether it's because they're fans, or whether it's because they know you personally and they actually think you're innocent. Whatever it is, like I said, and this is my long way of saying is come out of the cave. You don't need to defend billionaires, baby. He got everything on his side. However, the truth, whoever is telling it, is going to prevail. Again, Buzbee had a huge, huge win, right? Buzbee has a huge, huge win. And That's all there is to it. And it completely restored his credibility. Jay-Z reached too far. He was too arrogant. It wasn't based on firm legal. And as much as they even said that Busby wasn't admitted into New York to practice law, and he's actually a licensed lawyer admitted to practice law, I believe, in the Eastern District of New York. Like, there's just all this stuff that actually happened. You know, there's all this stuff that actually happened. Sats Bridges, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. And Nicole Good, thank you for being a member for 7 months. Said, Tisa, happy holidays. Keep up the good work. Says, thank you so much, Nicole. Oh, I love your Abby. So pretty. Listen, again, what y'all thinking about this, right? Again, here's the thing. We don't even know what the father said. I know we got the soundbite. Let me go back to the soundbite, y'all, because this needs to happen. We don't know what the father said, y'all. We got the soundbite, but it is a quote. What is the context? Listen, 80% of the time somebody is screaming about something I said, and I'm sitting there saying, but I never said that. You know what? Never mind. Continue. Because there are people intent on misunderstanding. Some people make their whole livelihoods on misunderstanding. And some people just don't understand. That's cool. My issue is if I go and have a conversation with you, right? And then about your best friend, and then I go back trying to start trouble with you and your best friend. If I literally just took things out of context, how easy would that be? If I'm just like, yeah, I heard your bestie is the town bicycle. Everybody get a ride, right? And you say, what are you talking about? The town bicycle? What? Yo, so many people say that she's this, and this. But let me tell you something. That's my dog. I've known her since she was in high school, and she would never do anything like that. She is a good woman. Honestly, with these rumors, I don't even know what to think, right? I just know everybody's crazy. How easy would it for me to do a quote saying, quote, the town bicycle? So many people say, blah, 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 she's loose, she's this, she's that, blah, 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 blah. And then I do dot, dot, dot. I don't even know what to say. That's it. No, I don't even know what to say. And I put another quotation. Where's the context? You can quote anybody, cut out things, get a thing. What is the context? So even though we're like, oh, and don't get me wrong, this father, when he gets on the stand, could sink the case. But that's something that needs to be decided in a court of law. It would be so easy for me to talk to anybody, get enough so I can put something on the screen and said that. Again, context is everything. And I find it very telling that NBC News did not air the full interview. NBC News did not air what the father said. NBC News did not get it raw and uncut. They gave us, you mean to say you called the father of a child, or at the time that said that they were essayed at a Diddy freak off the case of the year, and the father just gave, what is it, one sentence? I feel like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that was definitely stick in my mind. Father of the accuser, that's all he had to say. He didn't have nothing else to say. Nothing. He didn't say whether he thought his daughter was lying or telling the truth. He didn't say whether he supported his daughter or not. He didn't say whether they were working through it. He didn't say where they were living. He didn't confirm anything. All he gave y'all was that one sentence that you cut out 80% of. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Maybe listen, I left the cave a long time ago. And I'm not fitting a fight with people looking at flames flicker on the wall, right? I'm not. But I just do not believe that this quote can be taken in context because we don't have any context. That's all I'm saying. So even people saying, what about the father? Yeah, but I would say, what about the father? Because on the surface, yeah, it don't look too good. But when you actually think about it, you're like, but this actually proves nothing. This proves nothing. And also in the court of public opinion, if they're going to move forward with the lawsuit, let's see the father on the stand. Let's see a examination and a cross-examination. What you afraid of? Because here's the thing. As far as I'm talking about like Jay-Z's reputation, I actually think if it was me and I was innocent and help me out, I was a billionaire. Well, because do not take this advice at home if you are poor, working class, or even middle class, right? Just hear me out. If I was innocent and I had $1 billion and I was married to one of the richest, most powerful, beloved, beautiful women on this earth, and I had one of the best lawyers, if not the best lawyer in New York, if I had a whole PR agency and crisis managed behind me, and the NFL and Disney and everybody else, and all this shit came out in court, and the court of public opinion is like, I don't know, did he? I think he did. I think he did. I heard somebody saying they put him in suitcases. I heard somebody said that they put a gun to his head and was like, sing B, why she got raped. And all this shit was going, I would welcome a court case. I will welcome a court case. Do you know why? Because I could rip you apart in social media. I could rip you apart. I could put you on that stand. I could operate like a surgeon or a butcher, ripping your story apart, showing everything you said was a lie. I could put your father up there and question him, and then you get a chance to question. And I could show how your whole story is crumbling. And then there wouldn't be any more rumors because everybody would say, yo, did you see the testimony? Yo, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Again, at this point, I would welcome again, if you broke, if you working class, if you middle class, this advice isn't for you because you need money for this to go. But when you have all these things on your side, you welcome a court case because in a public manner, everything is aired out. Everything is aired out. And in that, your reputation is completely restored. Look what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Remember how he was public enemy number one before that? And remember how he went, right? Remember how he went and how all that stuff came out? And now Johnny Depp has been restored as one of the most beloved actors, icons, whatever. He needed that trial to restore his reputation. And I think at this point, Jay-Z also needs this trial to restore his reputation. If you can argue his reputation has even been damaged. Some people will say it hasn't been damaged. It's fine. This will be dismissed. I don't know. But my whole point of the matter is I really do think Jay-Z actually needs the trial now. He needs to get that girl on trial on the witness stand. He needs to rip apart her story. He needs to get that girl's father on the stand and rip apart that story. He needs to get all his witnesses. He needs to get Benji Madden. He needs to get Diddy's party planner. He needs to get even Diddy. Call Sean Diddy Combs. He needs to get Diddy to get on that stand because you can get somebody from prison to testify, to get on that stand and testify that he was never there and it's a lie. He needs that. He needs it. So I don't understand why people are saying this can't move forward. I think that this will solve all Jay-Z's problems if this trial actually moves forward. Again, that's what I think. Because if it doesn't, there's always going to be rumors. They were paid off. The girl's father was paid off. They settled. They made it go away. Again, are rumors true sometimes? Sometimes, but we won't know. There's always going to be that cloud hanging over. There's always going to be that cloud hanging over. But if you get them in court and you rip apart everybody and you expose the lies like what Johnny Depp did with Amber Heard, whether you think he's innocent or not, that doesn't matter. What his lawyers did to Amber Heard completely eviscerated anybody ever calling him a liar and anybody saying, oh yeah, but it completely eviscerated that. So again, at this point, I think Jay-Z needs a trial. I think he needs a trial. How else is this going to stop? How else is this going to go away? How else? When people see the person's story fall across a thing, you can't say, oh, she was paid off. He was paid off. No, we saw it and heard it for ourselves. We saw all the evidence come up. There's no way any sane person can deny this. You see what I'm saying? Look what happened with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. There was so much social media rah, 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 rah. Megan needed that trial. In that trial, the facts came out. I don't want to relitigate this. The facts came out and the misinformation couldn't hold up. And the jury that was dealing with the facts, not the shit floating around social media, not the fake shit that got put out. I mean the actual facts that were in the hospital and with the LAPD and all this stuff, because everything you saw on social media floating around was fake. The doctor's reports, all that stuff was fake. When it did, the jury decided on the facts. You know? Listen, I'm just saying. I think at this point he needs. Also, thank you, 327 Delta. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I think he needs it. I think he needs it. But we'll see if it's even going to get that far. We'll see if Buzbee doesn't settle. We'll see if it doesn't get anyway, and we'll see if Buzbee doesn't settle with Jay-Z. Because here's the only thing I think of why maybe Jay-Z is fighting so it doesn't get to court. And this is just me opining. Take it for a grain of salt. I feel like right now, the public's kind of 50-50. Yeah, I know people heard like shit on social media that Jay-Z and Beyonce been doing for 50 years. But honestly, that same person that started a lot of these rumors is now backtracking everything and saying that they were digitally AI manipulated and they never said anything about Jay-Z and never said Jay-Z didn't do any crimes. Meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney's Office is like, if anybody has information that can help us put these people away, please let us know. That same person that started 90% of these things about how Jay-Z and Beyonce are evil is now backtracking everything she ever said. And she refuses to cooperate with the U.S. Attorney's Office. So, okay. And let me just hear me out. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. 50%, I think the public is kind of 50-50 of whether they believe he did this and whether they believe he didn't do it. I believe a lot of people are like, I don't know. It's only one case. There's a lot of people that's like, I don't know. It's a little shaky. I do know, much like Diddy, when people are at that same point, what changed things for Diddy was, yes, the Cassie tape, but more importantly, when he got slammed with all those lawsuits. And I think maybe one of the reasons that Jay-Z is going so crazy right now is because he knows that right now the public is saying, y'all, this is a little shaky. What's going on? But if anybody else comes out, and if that person is credible or they're an employee of, what is it, Rock Nation, Live Nation, they worked with Jay-Z at one time, if they're an ex-girlfriend, if anything else comes out from anybody that is credible or is another Cassie that worked in the industry and that we kind of know, or they have position we respect, that's when I believe the dam will break. So maybe the reason Jay-Z is fighting so hard is because he doesn't want anything else to come out. Not saying he did anything illegal, but don't forget that Jay-Z has been like, before he was Jay-Z, Beyonce's husband, he was Jigga Man. And one could argue that Diddy's fatal error is he never married. I do believe one of the reasons everybody's going so hard for Jay-Z is because that is Beyonce's husband, and people respect and admire and really love Beyonce, and they want the best for Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Diddy never married, so he didn't have a woman that was beloved by the public to save him. He didn't have, like, being married. There's a reason why when you get a certain age, you want to be on your grown man and grown woman stuff and actually have a family unit, because America, we put a lot into people that are married. We give them these like, oh, but they're married, they're a good wife, they're a good husband. Being married when you get a certain point, especially in business and money, is always a plus. It is never a minus. It's always a plus. So my whole point of this is, if anybody credible comes out, anybody that the public recognizes, any other claims come out right now, I believe it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I think that's what they're trying to push away. That 30 years of, maybe he didn't do anything criminal, but the early 90s, late 90s, 2000s was wild in the rap game. It was wild in America. What was being allowed to happen to women and rich and powerful men. So, yeah, I think maybe that's the bigger concern, that there will be copycat cases, or this case will embolden others to come out. And they know right now the public is like, I don't know, it's like a little iffy. And they just don't want anything else to come down. I think that's what's going on, you know? Listen, I think that's this is my opinion. Trishawn, what's up, Trishawn? Said, damn it, I'm late as F. Oh, well, what's up, Tisa? What's up, Trishawn? How you doing? Oh, thank you. Shout out to Wendy. It looks like she is doing so well. Kev Jr. is taking really, really good care of her. And it looks like she's surrounded with her family and people that actually love and care about her. And for anybody being like, that's Wendy's karma. No, that is Wendy and her predilections coming back to her. But I will say, if Wendy was healthy and sane, she would have so much to say right now. Could you imagine Wendy Williams getting on the witness stand and testifying against Jay-Z? Oh my God. I'm sorry, not Jay-Z, Diddy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Exactly. Maya did an interview about why she left music, Delta Tango, and it was a good interview. It was a good interview. And this is what she said. She said she didn't want to sell her soul or her body. And it's sad that if you don't take that deal, you're finished. Maya had to leave what she loved. And, it's everybody's own personal decision, but we can't have that. Listen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, listen. Again, at the end of the day, we'll see what comes out. Let me get out of here. I gotta make listen, I gotta make a few more videos. I will see y'all soon. Thank y'all so much for journeying. Listen, exactly. That's what I meant to say. Autistic people can definitely be very smart. They very much are. They said that they have issues with communication, but they're not dumb. And that was my issue. I don't mean to say because she's autistic, she doesn't know. Autistic people, things might be blurry, but they are very good at remembering details, right? However, with someone autistic, it is very easy to confuse them. They are not good with they tend to not be good with communication, but they're very good with their memories. But again, why is that? And again, autism is a spectrum, okay? But my whole point is, why is this important? Because again, I will always say it was trash of NBC to interview. And also, Buzbee was slipping. What were you letting your autistic client go and give this interview for a hatchet job? And I just want to say that I think it was trash of NBC to interview an autistic woman on a gotcha. Because again, why is that important? Maybe they did do a good job interviewing or not, but they didn't give us the context. You didn't let us know whether she was confused. You didn't let us hear her answer the question, hear the question, and then see her answer it in real time. You gave us sound bites. Again, if you want me to decide in the court of public opinion, I'm going to need more proof. I'm going to need more proof. Also, Harley62 said, Tisa, I live in the woods by choice. I appreciate having all the tea and all that ish that's going on in those artists' lives. Oh, that's what's up, Harley. I've never adored none of them. Let's appreciate what we have. I agree, you guys. 2025 should be the year that we all start to appreciate what we have and actually start showing some class solidarity and demanding that we, the people that actually built this country, pay the taxes, put money in your fave's pocket, that we actually demand more for ourselves, from better education for our loved ones and children, better health care, better wages. There's so much in this world that if we show class solidarity, we can actually get. Again, it is time we appreciate all that we have, though, because we have a lot. We have a lot. And if money truly bought happiness, maybe the world wouldn't look like the way it does. Like it just wouldn't. Anyway, Trishawn, Debbie, because you can't tell me happy people aren't doing that. Of course, money buys comfort, and who wouldn't want more money? But we actually do have to appreciate what we have. Thank you so much, Harley. Trishawn W said Maya didn't leave music. She just went independent. No. She did go independent, but I feel like she was blacklisted because she wouldn't play ball. And I feel like if Maya had played ball a little bit more, maybe no shade, but the way Ashanti played ball, I think Maya could have had more longevity and a bigger career. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Maya could have had more longevity and a bigger career because she had talent. She had the look. She had the fan support. You know, there is. Look at Dana DeCane. They had the looks, the talent, everything. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, that's what I'm just saying. In any case, you guys, listen, let me get out of here. I will talk to y'all later. And I'll upload a few more videos today. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.